This is my 2005 Ducati 749 that I bought for $600, and it's in terrible condition. In this video, I'm going to do everything in my power to make it look and work like it just came from the factory. So join me while I unravel all its mysteries. Alright, so getting right into it, I need to find out if this thing is even worth saving by finding out if the engine is any good and the wiring harness is insanely messed up. So I started by removing it. After removing, I got a used harness in excellent shape and installed it. I've only done a couple things to a couple Ducatis before, and this one was honestly way easier to work on than I expected. Okay, so far, we get that little security light flashing at us. That's a good sign. Okay, moment of truth. Oh my gosh, the fuel pump is working. 749, 28,000 miles. Oh my gosh, everything so far is working. Okay. I am very nervous. Let's make sure this thing's in neutral. Actually, I think it's in neutral because I pushed it. The bike wouldn't crank because I had missed plugging in the neutral indicator. The bike would only run on starting fluid, and after inspecting the tank, it was looking promising, so I went and got some gas for it. Check out the Abarth video if you haven't watched it. After I put gas into the bike, it would not start at all anymore, even if I put starting fluid. So I started diagnosing it and checked the plugs, which seemed alright, checked for spark, which was good. I did a compression test, which was great. I then removed the top of the airbox to see if the injectors were firing, and they were. There was a code for the TPS, so I even swapped throttle bodies, which did nothing. So my conclusion was that there was an issue with the ECU, so I swapped that out as well as the cluster and key since they are all linked. After doing all of that, the bike finally showed some signs of life. You're probably wondering where I got all these parts from, and that would be from this other bike I bought for $1,000. That was completely torn down to fix a spun engine bearing. My goal here is to use as many parts from this bike as possible since it was nice to begin with, and try and restore and make the engine out of the other bike look better. I didn't film every single thing that I washed, but I assure you I cleaned every single piece I put back onto this bike, which took forever. I also forgot to mention that the bike in pieces came with a factory Ducati service manual and was the only reason I even considered buying this bike to begin with. I used oven cleaner and a bunch of brushes to get the crackhead mural off the engine, and I was very impressed with how it turned out. Take a good look at this aftermarket clutch cover, mostly because I forgot to take a video of it before sandblasting it. I ended up having to unbend and fix a crack in it with a TIG welder, and after I fixed it, I did primer, color, and clear coat.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
I just want to take a second to thank anybody who has donated over the life of the channel. I always appreciate you guys, every single video. I swear, love you guys. I couldn't help myself and ended up painting the pressure plate as well because it just didn't make sense not to. I was excited to be finished with this, but unfortunately 2 of the holes for the springs were stripped, but we're going to deal with that later. If you're enjoying the video so far, please consider subscribing, liking, or leaving a comment. It helps the channel grow and gets me closer to hopefully doing this full time someday. Regardless, I appreciate you watching. After swapping the remaining parts on the engine, I couldn't help myself and used oven cleaner and Scotch-Brite pads on the exhaust to make them look a little better before installing them. I am thinking about doing a video where I build an exhaust for this thing using mufflers from AliExpress, so if you're interested, let me know in the comments. I just want to address something I feel is important, and it's the fact that just like most people, there were many points where I was frustrated, overwhelmed, and second-guessing things during this project. I think it's all part of having projects, and my best piece of advice is just to keep going and take it one small step at a time. Even doing something really small makes you a little bit closer, and eventually you get to a point where you can see how much progress you've made, and it can help motivate you to continue on. For me, this was one of those moments where I was getting overwhelmed with how much I had left to do still, but taking that step back and seeing how far the bike had come gave me that extra bit of energy to keep on going. I had reused the O-rings on the gas tank and it was leaking, so while I figured that out, I fixed the stripped holes for the clutch. After that was fixed, I decided I would try and use the O-ring from the other gas tank, this time using more grease and heating up the tank to try and not pinch it. Well, it worked slightly better, but it was still leaking. So after a bunch of research and measurements, I managed to find O-rings that would work from Napa, and they were only $2 locally versus $20 online. I forgot to press record when bleeding the brakes, but they're bled. When I reassembled the bike, I decided to use the lower mile injectors that I hadn't tested before, and after I couldn't get the bike to run, I diagnosed that one of the injectors was not working, so had to take everything back off and swap them out, but once I did, we were good to go again. Right after that, I noticed the valve cover was spraying oil onto the tire and swapped that off camera as well. Alright guys, here's a quick reminder of what we started with so you can really appreciate where we are now. Okay, so the bike is what I will call YouTube done. I had an insane amount of little problems one after the other, and I didn't feel like filming every single one of them, so I'm just gonna go and break down every single one that I've fixed so far. The first one being the clutch. This is an aftermarket HDESA clutch and cover, and when I got it, it was oxidized and I couldn't see any writing on it, but it's directional and it goes a certain way, and I didn't put it in correctly. My fault on that one. So I had to take it back apart, figure it out, and fix the clutch. On this side, this stator was originally on this bike, and there was oil in the connector, means it's bad. So I just ended up swapping the entire cover, and that also fixed an oil leak. Right after that, I finally got to put coolant in it the first time, and I found out one of the hoses had a hole in it. So I had to change that as well. Not to mention, the oil drain was also stripped, so I had to fix that as well. The next issue I had was getting these front brakes to work, and it was a combination of two things. One, this caliper had a bent pin that wasn't allowing the piston to come out all the way. Replaced it. And then there's this little plunger on these CRG levers was not pushing hard enough, which I think was not allowing me to get the bubbles out all the way. Once I swapped this one out, brakes started working, and now we are solid with pretty much brand new brake pads. So back here, this is the issue I'm still having, is this is the speed sensor, and on this wire, it had melted to the exhaust, so it's 100% bad. I swapped the other one in and it wasn't melted, and I still have a check engine light for the speed sensor and it's not working, so that's an issue for later. The last issue I was having is it not idling, and it's still an issue. So I just adjusted the cables right now to keep it open a little bit higher, which is not ideal, but from what I'm reading, I need a software and the plug for this so I can go on the computer and reset the TPS. Ideally, that's the problem. I don't know. This bike has been full of problems, and they're just back to back to back to back. It's been kind of a pain, but The bike turned out pretty cool, and as of now, I think I have $1,850, and it's got a bunch of brand new parts, a bunch of brand new aftermarket parts. Pretty good deal. So I think all that's left is for us to go ride it and see how it rides. It rode fantastic, but I will say after watching this video that my brake light is always on, so that's another problem I have to fix. Anyways, guys, I always appreciate you watching, and I hope to see you at the next one.